Hi and welcome everyone to our 64th episode of The Little Inside. As usual, my name is still Tobi, and this week I'm going to talk a little bit about how to use the power of emotions. So let's get started right after the intro. So for many people, that's a scary topic. Emotions are kind of unpredictable. We never know what's going to happen. They can take you all the way up to the highest peaks and then throw you right down into the darkest valley in the next moment. So we don't really know how to deal with our emotions, or most people don't really know how to deal with them. There's a whole lot of blogs and articles and videos about how to deal with your emotions, how to handle your emotions, how to get rid of negative emotions, how to cultivate positive emotions and all that. So there's a whole lot of information already around. So the reason why I'm doing this video is because very often on the path of meditation, people try to suppress their emotion or deny their emotional being, or kind of give no importance to emotions. They say, I'm totally above that. I'm detached from my emotions. I'm aware of emotions arising and passing. And that's good and nice to be aware of your emotions arising and passing, but you could also make use of your emotions. And that's another aspect of the spiritual path, as many things are profound and deep. Our spiritual path here, in the same way, has, you can say, many facets. It's not just only letting go of your emotions and sitting there passively, allowing them to arise and to pass and so forth. There's many facets to it. You could also make use of your emotions. If you do that properly and skillfully, there's great power with your emotions, very uplifting power. And if you can use them well, your life and the life of those surrounding you is definitely going to be very, very beneficial. So emotions are mostly conditioned by our past experience. And as all our facets, like consciousness or the body and so forth, we're basically spending most of our time and attention with those things that we're habituated to spend time and attention with. For example, if you're used to paying attention to negativity, it's very likely that you keep seeking out more negativity in your life, even though it's not really what you want, and even though it causes you a lot of suffering and trouble. You just kind of keep doing it because it's what you do. It's what the self does, and the self kind of keeps perpetuating itself in its own very in its funny ways, right? So for example, if you're a very negative personality, then that negative personality goes into resonance with negativity and feeds on that. The same is true, of course, for our emotions. And so our emotions can actually help us. If we become mindful of our emotions, then we can learn to understand the way we think, the way we react and respond to life. And we can get very deep insights into our habitual traits of character. Because emotion is almost like a condensed version of thought. At first there is a simple blah blah thought in your head, oh, I don't like this guy over there, or wow, I love her, or something like that. But you see, already there is emotion in wow, I love her, or I don't like this guy over there. So if it's just only the thought, then it's more like just I don't like this guy over there, or wow, I love her. There's no expression to it. But if you invest in that thought, then it creates emotion. And that emotion in itself gives rise to more thoughts that resonate with that emotion. It gives this kind of package. So you can say emotion is basically thought and feeling in interplaying with each other. So thoughts and feelings playing with each other or circulating around each other. That's what an emotion is. And so when you are feeling a negative emotion, you know it's negative. It feels unpleasant. You want to get rid of it. You don't want to feel that way. And if we are dwelling in these negative states, then our actions are colored by these negative states as well. And so very often then unskillful actions are the result of people who are dwelling in unskillful or painful emotions most of the time. They act unskillfully. And if you act unskillfully, then the response, the results of your action, again, they feed back into that emotional whirlwind that we mostly cultivate there, subconsciously. So in order to work with our emotions, the very first step, as always, is to bring consciousness into this process, to become aware of how we are emotioning throughout the day. So what are our predominant thoughts like? What kind of personalities do we encourage or feed from or create habitually again and again? And what kind of emotional taste do these personalities have? How do I react to certain circumstances? For example, how do I react when I hear certain words or meet certain people or see certain things? How do I emotionally respond to that? So the first thing to do here is become mindful of how you emotionally react to circumstances and make that your thing this week. I actually encourage you, every time I post one of those videos, these videos are wonderful little pointers for you to just put into practice right away. They're not supposed to be some kind of abstract, theoretical blah blah that you consume and then forget. It's more something to play with, something to encourage doing. So take this information and look at yourself for 1 week, 7 days. Have a look, how am I habitually emotioning? How do I create direction in my life through my emotions and my thoughts? Now then, the second step would be to discern between skillful emotions and unskillful emotions. How do I know which emotion is skillful and how do I know which emotion is unskillful? Are those emotions that feel painful automatically unskillful? Are those emotions that feel pleasant automatically skillful? Not really. Many people, they say, "Oh, I do this because it feels so good." But in fact, their actions are creating a whole lot of problems for themselves and others. Like an example to give would be a person that loves to eat chips, and they eat nothing but chips because it just tastes so good. And eventually, they develop ulcers or problems in their stomach, and it comes from eating all those chips. But they don't want to look at the problem, so they just eat the painkiller. And so they can keep eating chips. And I've seen this ridiculous advertising. I think it was, I'm not sure where it was, but I saw this advertising where this guy was partying hard and then he had a big stomach problem. He held his stomach. He was like, "Oh God, oh my stomach," you know. And then this kind of little cartoon creature came to his door and rang the bell and it gave him a bunch of pills as you opened the door. And he ate one of those pills and the pain went away and he went right back at doing exactly what caused the pain, namely partying and eating bullshit. So the problem was that this advertising encouraged you, hey, if you eat our medicine, you can hurt yourself, but you won't feel a thing. Isn't that fantastic? And many medicines actually work like that. And very often also the medicine itself is creating more problems. So we can't really say, well, it's good because it feels good. You might be, maybe you're a mafioso and you like killing people, and it feels good to kill your enemy. I've killed my enemy. I'm a great I'm a great mafioso. I don't know if they want, if they would talk like that, but just the idea, and it might give you some sense of satisfaction. You have killed your enemy in revenge or something, and is it therefore good? Was that a good deed? And how do you know then? How do we know what is skillful and what is not? Well, we know it basically from where it comes from. That's one point, and from what it causes, what it creates, right? So does it come from a harmful mental state? Does it come from fear? Does it come from selfishness? Does it come from worrying or anger? Most of these, they come from fear anyways. So does it come from anything that resonates in a painful way, even though it might feel good, like vengeance, taking vengeance, like revenge? Someone is being a smartass and I can show them, I can give them the right answer and kind of make them shut up. I did really well there. If you're very honest, if you're looking deeply, it feels superficially good, but deep underneath, it doesn't feel good. So we need to learn to look deeply. To look deeply. What, for example, a question you can ask yourself when you're looking deeply is, if this was the last thing I did in my life, how would that feel like? Like you're having an argument with your spouse and you're angry and you leave the house. And then you ask yourself that question, what if this is really the last time that we see each other? I was right, but does it really feel good? So most of us have this moral compass already. If you are listening to your heart deeply, if you kind of have to contemplate, like, is it really good? It's probably not, because there's already something inside of you that gives opposition. So listen to your heart. What is it? Would kindness, was it kind? Ask yourself that question. Was this kind, what I just did? Was it kind? Will it give rise to happiness for the other person and myself? What's the direction? Does it come from kindness? Good, do it. Is it authentic? Is it genuine? Is it compassionate? Good. You know, you go ahead and do it. And so the emotional state that underlies kindness is a very powerful tool that we can make use of. So it's really important to create it, to actively seek it out, to create it, to assume the personality of a kind person, and then be kind. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, give them space, listen to those who want to be understood, pay attention to people, and you will see it uplifts you. Also over time, so here is where we can see from the results of our actions that our life is uplifted. People like us, people want to spend time with us, they feel comfortable around us, they don't need to fear us. Yes, so this is really important. So there should be some consideration that goes into the way we act. And it's not good because it feels good. And it's not bad because it feels bad. But rather look at where it really comes from, which is admittedly not that easy. You need to be very honest with yourself here. And look at the direction of your action, and then look at what it causes. And then, of course, look, we have to try in our life very often. We have to learn from trying. So what is it that really works in terms of kindness? How can I be kind to other people most efficiently? How can I be kind to myself most efficiently? What is it that feels just right in terms of kindness, in terms of compassion and so forth? This is all things that we need to learn. And one of the major driving forces for all of us is emotion. We all want to feel happy and good. Nobody wants to experience pain and suffering. So this, a majority of our actions goes into avoidance of pain and creation of pleasure. So you can make use of that. So you want to be kind, make sure that the path of kindness is pleasurable, that it feels good. Make use of the power of positive emotions. Create them, seek them out. Spend time with people who are already joyful, who are already kind and compassionate and so forth. And so we take on these qualities rather effortlessly. So I hope that this little video is giving you some inspiration and maybe some tips or a direction in helping you to work with creating skillful emotional states. Because creating skillful emotional states is not that difficult at all, actually. For example, gratitude. So you could think about things you're grateful for. It will create an emotional state. And it's that emotional state which creates according action. And that according action creates according results. And you will notice that when it comes from this genuine sense of gratitude or the genuine sense of kindness, that it's always an uplifting, beautiful energy in your life. And once you notice that, you'll start getting better at that. You will create more of it. The happiness, for example, the happiness that enjoys another person's happiness. It's a very simple, very cheap way of creating a good feeling, a good emotional state, right? Creating more happiness for yourself. And this is something absolutely vital, because whatever you want in your life, it always comes from that good, positive, emotional space that a being that is well aligned can be in. So if you are in a positive, powerful, emotional state, then your life will naturally go into resonance with that state. And that's particularly the reason why I mentioned it as powerful, because it is one of the most powerful forces. If you're cultivating good, skillful, happy, joyful, uplifting, and beneficial qualities within yourself, it will naturally radiate out into the world and the life that you're living. And that way, your life, your presence becomes highly inspiring and wonderful. Okay, so that's all that comes to mind for this week. I hope you enjoyed it and you cultivated a few very wholesome and powerful emotional states while watching this video. If you do have any questions, write them down in the comment section below. I'm always happy to read your comments and know that you're also watching the video and enjoying it. And well, I hope that all of you guys will have a fantastic next week. I'm looking forward to see all of you again next Wednesday. Bye-bye.